It's Suzanne Kohlberg, and today I wanted to talk about how sometimes the weight you need to lose isn't on your body, and why I think journaling is such a powerful tool. So I've been flipping through some of my old journals, preparing for the start of the masterclass. So I'm running a 5-day live journaling masterclass starting tomorrow morning, and I have by no means an exhaustive collection of my journals. And the reason I think it's powerful, to go through them is some of these I haven't actually written in at all. Like I bought this one called Dear Future Me because I really loved the idea of this, and it's full of really awesome prompts. And I haven't even started yet. I haven't cracked it. Because so often, and today I went to Officeworks. If you're not from Australia, Officeworks is a stationery store, because the kids are going back to school. And my husband was with me. And now that I have the Remarkable, which is the electronic journal, he's kind of like barring the entry to the journal aisle, saying, "You'll never have to attend in here again." But I was like, little do you know, honey, I still have all these. And like, for me, I'm really attracted to the pretty journals, but I really struggle to write in them. And for a lot of them, I write like this one. So I got like 2 pages in it. Disappointing. And then, does anyone else do this? Once you have written in it, it's like tainted or something. And I need another one. I can't go back. Well, I have actually been going back. But I was looking for the Kiki K ones, and I think I actually ended up donating those. But Kiki K has these 365-day journals, and they release a new design or a couple of new designs every year. So of course, every year I get a new one, and I don't think I ever made it past day 7. It's weird. This one, like daily thoughts, I have, and I always date it. So whatever you do with your journal, date it. And even though there's not much in there, it's fascinating to read. So this is back from 2015. So I started on the 28th of November. And that's the other thing. Don't wait to the 1st of the month, start whenever. And I did through to the 8th of December. So that's what, like 9 or 10 days. But even reading over these things, what made me happy, I took Xanthi and Casimir to see Santa, and Casimir pulled his beard off. Oh dear, that's hilarious. But there's still memories in these, even if you only keep them for a couple of days. There's this weekly one, like I do keep a weekly review now, and I've done it for 2 years, so I'm really proud of myself. But for me, I struggle with the actual journal because sometimes I don't have enough to fill the space, and sometimes I want to write more. So I actually do better with these with a plain one. And this is all the kind of things we'll be discussing in the journaling masterclass. Different types of journaling, whether to use prompts, whether to do like the morning pages, whether to do like question and answer, using different color pens. Sometimes people try with their non-dominant hand. All these kinds of things. We have 5 days together to really explore this, because the powerful thing about journaling, and hence the title of this video, which is, sometimes the weight you need to lose isn't on your body. So this one, I absolutely love this one. I found the entry once again. I've only done a couple of pages, but this entry is from 2019, so nearly 3 years ago now. And it was the first presentation I had to give as a speaker in a summit. And I wrote these pre-summit thoughts to myself. And I just read this briefly before I got on here. And I'm like, I dedicate today's presentation to anyone who feels not enough. Not thin enough, not smart enough, not put together enough. I must have been having a worry about my mum bun. Not experienced enough. And to anyone who's ever been told they're too much, too loud, too fat, too quiet, too shy, too timid, too thin. You are perfect exactly as you are. And that is not some cop-out or empty platitude. It's true. What the world needs is you, as you are, real, raw, and authentic. I struggle to read my own handwriting. There's enough showmanship, people putting out a picture of having it all together, while behind the scenes it's actually held together MacGyver style with some sticky tape. I give this talk today for each of you, but more importantly for me, for the me at 150 kilos who thought something was wrong with her, and for me here at 72 kilos who can't understand what went wrong. I lost the weight, so where's my confidence? Where's my happily ever after? For me today, who feels afraid, like I don't belong, and like I'll never be picked for the soccer team, but got here because I bought my place, so that doesn't count. Oh, it was a speaking. I remember this now. I was like, which speaking event was this? This is the one I was invited to, but then you had to pay for the ticket. So I was like, oh, does it really count? And I'm like, everything counts. And then, I went on to talk about, delivering it for everyone needs to hear. And I talked about me 4 years from now. So this is 2019 and it's now 2022. So it's 3 years later. It's fascinating. So I could go into a really long explanation of this, but a lot of people beat themselves up because they only do, 3, 5, 7, 10 pages of their journal. But that can be still data. And what I'd encourage you to do is take the time to go back and read over these entries and get the lessons in that from there. Because yes, I do remember that it was fascinating, and in many ways it feels like just yesterday. But the weight you lose, for me, I thought when I lost the weight, like the weight was the only issue. How naive I was. Once I lost weight, I'd suddenly be really confident and I'd be really happy and everything would kind of have it all together. And what I found was I was still me. I just physically took up less space. And that's the power of the journal. You can have these conversations with yourself. You can get the stuff out of your head and onto the paper. And then you can revisit it years down the line and be like, oh my goodness, look how far I've come. So if you're not yet joining us, there is a link in the description of this video where you can register. It's 5 days. It's totally free. We're going to go into some different, different techniques, whether you do free thought, whether you do prompts, how you organize it, whether you use pen and paper or typed or voice. A lot of our hesitations or resistances to starting, some of them are legitimate and we can have ways around it. And some of them BS, but Sue's are the bullshit excuses that we'll bust together over the coming week. So if this has been something that you've been like doing for a couple of days and stopping and doing for a couple of days and beating yourself up, the power in coming to this masterclass is you realize that you're not alone. There's a whole community of people who get it. And if you get that one thing that takes you from inaction to an action, I think that's totally worth the investment of your time. So if you've got any questions, please comment. Otherwise, I hope to see you tomorrow or on the replay in the Journal Masterclass. Bye for now.